What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for AEW on TNT review for October the 27th, 2021. We are finally back on Wednesday night after 2 weeks of preemption. And before we get to the show, we have some terrible news in the world of professional wrestling, as today it was announced that Ring of Honor is going on hiatus. What they're going to do is in November, they're going to do a taping, and then Final Battle in December, and then that's it. Well, okay, let's see here. They announced, this was their statement, quote for quote. Throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe, and despite not producing any live events over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. Now we find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations, or are planning to pivot for a Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with a final battle in December, and we'll be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally to reimagine Ring of Honor, ROH as its most dedicated fans in history, and we appreciate the loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize Ring of Honor. We anticipate returning to live events in April for Supercard of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans. Well, that sucks. But it gets worse. They are going to release everybody. As of today, October the 27th, 2021, every single contracted talent for Ring of Honor has been somewhat let go. They can go anywhere right now. However, there is a taping in November that they are still contracted to. There is Final Battle in 2019 in December. Those are the last two things that are on Ring of Honor contracts right now. No one's contract will be renewed after that. So contracts coming up in December, like late December, they're not getting renewed. Anyone after that goes up to March, their contracts are not getting renewed. This is a big red flag to me. They say they want to come back in 2022 after taking the first quarter off and with a reimagined Ring of Honor. Here's my problem with this. Why are you letting everybody go? How you get through this, I know I could understand that they can't pay everybody right now because, yeah, they went 18 months with no tickets, no merchandise at live events. They probably got merch offline. People were buying offline. But those ticket sales mean a lot. Gates and everything mean a lot. Going into merch sales, you get a lot of merch sales at these Ring of Honor events and other events. I was working at at a gas station in 2017. Yeah, it had to be the tail end of 2017 because there was a Ring of Honor event in Pittsburgh or in that area, and I was working the night shift. Two customers come in draped in Bullet Club completely because they went to the Ring of Honor events and they just bought a bunch of Bullet Club merch. Ring of Honor went 18 months with none of that. Just recently getting fans back for a pay-per-view that they did and a couple other events. That's nice and all, but it's not enough to make up for all the loss that they had for those 18 months of no tickets, no nothing. Here's my problem with this. If you're really coming back in 2022 with Ring of Honor, why are you letting everybody go? You could freeze everyone's contract after Final Battle. Because, yeah, they're letting everybody go and they're allowed to go do whatever they want. They could show up on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. They could show up in MLW. I highly doubt they could show up in WWE because WWE's not going to let anybody they sign go back to Ring of Honor for the TV tapings and Final Battle. That ain't happening. But they could freeze the contracts because WWE's frozen contracts before. It's real easy to do. Freeze everyone's contract and be like, listen, we can't pay you right now. We're going to let you go do any indie event. You can go work for AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. You can't sign a full-time contract with any company, but you can go work per appearance for them. And then when we come back, will, like, you can go work per appearance, and then we're going to have you come back for the TV tapings to make it through November and December. We're going to have you come back for Final Battle. And then after that, you can go anywhere except for WWE or sign a full-time contract with anybody who we're not affiliated with. And then when we need you back, we'll come back, we'll unfreeze everyone's contracts, and all your contracts will be good after that. The fact that they're letting everybody go just makes no sense to me. How does a company expect to come back in April of 2022 when you let everyone go? What if all those contracts come out and go up and nobody comes back to Ring of Honor? What kind of roster are you going to have for Super Card of Honor? I mean, yes, I'm sure they're going to have people in contact and have contracts ready to sign on the way to Super Card of Honor for some talent. But some talent probably won't be back. What does this do for all your champions? Are you just going to have all championships vacated on this at Final Battle? You're going to have world title matches. Bandito is going to put the title on the line, have a match, and if he wins, he's going to put the title in the middle of the ring and say, I'll be back for this title when the company comes back. Who knows? This just sucks for everybody. The fact that, yeah, they have one set of tapings left and they have Final Battle, but still, what are these? I feel bad for everybody who's on the roster, from the wrestlers to the commentary to the Quinn McKay and Brian Zane who do the interviews, because those guys, those men and women, and everybody, the referees, everybody, they were getting just the short end of the stick. And none of them, I bet you none of them knew any of this was coming. There was no rumblings. There's been no rumblings for, when something like this usually happens, there's dirt sheets coming out saying that something bad's happening in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is going to make this kind of announcement. None of this happened. Nothing came of this. And just all of a sudden, boom, everyone's going to be out of contract and Ring of Honor is going to go away. I just don't understand why they're doing this. I hope the best for everybody. Could we see a Jay Lethal on Dark Elevation? Could we see a Jonathan Gresham in AEW? Could we see any of these guys go to Impact? Can we see any of these men and women go to Ring of Honor? Roxy, I hear, is an awesome female professional wrestler, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, who just won that championship not more than, 2 months ago in a title tournament. Now she's going to be out of a job. How shitty should she feel, the fact that she just got crowned the first ever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and now she knows that by the end of the year, if her contract's coming up, or if her contract's coming up in March, she's going to be out of a job. This just doesn't make any sense. Now, there was, I guess, some rumor that Sinclair was canceling Ring of Honor TV. I don't buy that, but this just, something's not right here. This just came out of nowhere, and this is professional wrestling. Almost nothing ever comes out of nowhere. We hear in the wrestling world, on the dirt sheets and everything, we always hear rumors and rumblings before something big like this happens. Yes, I know, Sting coming to AEW at when it was coming last year, that was a big shock from everybody. Nobody knew it was coming. But for 9 times out of 10, when something big like this happens, there is advance warning, and people actually hear rumblings from their sources that something big is about to happen in a company. So I don't think this story is done yet, because it just feels like there's something missing. It just feels like we have so much more to learn before we actually get the full scope of why Ring of Honor all of a sudden decided, yep, we're firing everybody, we're going to shut down, which they shut down last year towards the end of the year because of COVID, and they didn't want to risk talent's safety, which is fine. And now they're just, and they kept everybody on the contract, which good on them, because they could have did this last year and said, yeah, the indies aren't running right now. Only WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, and AEW are really doing professional wrestling. Let's shut down. Let's get rid of everybody and just say, fuck everybody. I do commend them for that. However, something just doesn't feel right about this everyone's getting laid off, and they're going to go and try and do something. They're going to try and reimagine the company. Just, I have no idea what they're doing. It just, something doesn't feel right. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the Ring of Honor. What's wrong with what the Ring of Honor news, and what you think might be happening behind the scenes, because this just came out of nowhere, and I just don't feel like it's done yet. Maybe Dave will have something on Wrestling Observer tonight with Brian Alvarez. They're going to talk about that tonight, but something just doesn't feel right. Moving on to the show, it is the AEW's Halloween edition of their Wednesday night show. Of course, unfortunately, only the main event got the costumes. I don't know why nobody else dressed up. I mean, come on, guys. Get in the holiday spirit. I know NXT had Halloween Havoc last night. You had people dressing up as they came to the ring. And I'm hoping that AEW, this is the perfect time to do some kind of Halloween-themed show. This is the Wednesday night show before Halloween. I know they're going to have Rampage. They're going to do a trick-or-treat, a no DQ trick-or-treat type match, theme match on Rampage, which is being taped right now. But come on, man, give us some Halloween spirit from everybody. We'll talk about that main event, which was fucking awesome, and a little bit of comparison from Stu Grayson and Tommaso Ciampa, because they both dressed up as Kratos this week. But the first match of the night is Bobby Fish versus CM Punk, making his Wednesday night in-ring debut. CM Punk, of course, came out on Saturday and saved Anthony Green from a massive beatdown from Bobby Fish, who was just attacking this guy, poor man, trying to injure this guy and leave him for dead. So that gave us this match tonight. These guys have never faced off against each other. CM Punk wasn't paying attention to NXT, so he never saw what Bobby Fish was doing over in NXT. And this was a good match. This was a damn good match. Bobby Fish, you're going to get matches like this from Bobby Fish, from a CM Punk, from an Adam Cole, from a Bryan Danielson, week in and week out. These guys are the creme de la creme of talent. These guys are going to be the ones holding the line in AEW while the young guys are still up and coming. Your Jungle Boys, your Sammy Guevaras, your Darby Allins, and like a Lee Moriarty, who just has been signed by AEW recently, Daniel Garcia, those young guys who are going to eventually take over for these guys while they're still getting their years in and their reps in. You're going to get great matches like this from CM Punk and Bobby Fish. Like I said, first time for these guys. Of course, CM Punk a couple times during the beginning of this match tried to get the GTS. Of course, Bobby Fish is wise to that and is like, you're not getting that GTS on me, motherfucker. Punk ends up sending Fish to the outside of the ring towards the end of the match, but with Punk with the suicide dive on his opponent, back in the ring, Punk heads up top, but Fish goes back to the floor. Punk goes up out to the apron. Fish sweeps the leg. Fish, of course, as we know, I've noticed in most, if not all of his matches so far, has been working on the leg. He's working on a leg. He's trying to incapacitate that leg so he can just make you tap out to whatever submission he wants to do. Punk did come back into the ring during this match, and he was limping from his leg that Bobby Fish was working on. CM Punk actually tries to go for a GTS. He drops the knee to hit drops him and goes for the knee, but he gets caught, put into a dragon screw. Punk, so that definitely had to hurt. Punk dumped back onto the floor. Punk sent into a barricade, both throwing big strikes on the floor until Punk is dropped with a knee to the midsection. Fish really looking to work over Punk's knee. Again, he wants to tap CM Punk out, but of course, both of these guys are proficient in submission wrestling. Punk is able to work his way back up to the match fights his way towards a GTS on Fish, hits him with the bad knee. And honestly, I thought because CM Punk hit the GTS, he goes down, and Fish is a little bit off the way. So I'm like, that's going to be it? Or is that going to be CM Punk? Because CM Punk took forever to get to Bobby Fish is going to kick out. Well, CM Punk does get over to Fish. 1, 2, and as the hand hits 3, Bobby Fish kicks out. The match is called in favor of CM Punk. Bobby Fish just a hairs away from getting out of the GTS. A lot of people don't like the fact that the GTS was kicked out of at the end. Maybe it looked like a botch. I honestly thought because, and it would have been a good excuse why Bobby Fish was able to get out of the GTS, is because CM Punk hit it but didn't go for the pin immediately because he used the bad knee. So that's why it would have made sense if he was to kick out. Yes, usually I would be like, oh, why did he like that? How dare Bobby Fish kick out of this, like pull a Hulk Hogan and kick out at the very last second? That would have been fucking stupid. But thankfully, that's not what happened. It was just you could put it off as the dude kicked out at the last second because CM Punk took forever to get his get over and pin him. Earlier in the day, Malachi Black said he made Cody family lose faith in him. He invited the entire American Nightmare family. He even made the crowd hate him. Actually, the crowd were hating Cody before Malachi Black even came in. Black says that Cody thinks it was just about pinfalls. That's not the deal. The house always wins. Here's my thoughts on this. Yes, this has got to be the best recovery of being beaten, taking that pinfall loss, which again, Cody should not have won. It should have been Malachi. Malachi should be undefeated still. It was stupid to have Malachi lose his first match. Gee, he lost it to that great up-and-coming Cody Rhodes. Please. No, Malachi should have won, plain and simple, no doubt about it. But they went the way they did, and this was the best you could do. Yeah. The family turned on, lose faith in him. The Nightmare family been divided with Cody. I mean, Arn Anderson was close to leaving Cody as a manager. So yeah, Malachi sort of did what he set out to do, but it still does not excuse completely why Malachi Black lost. I'm sorry, it just doesn't do it. So there's that. So, this next match, MJF versus Sean Donovan. Who the hell is versus Bryce Donovan. My bad. Who the fuck is Bryce Donovan? I don't fucking know who Bryce Donovan is. This was, of course, a jobber match, and of course, MJF is fulfilling his quarterly quota wrestling. He doesn't have to wrestle that often. This is what he is. This is what he does. But after he beats him with a one-finger pin, he gets the mic. By the way, can I mention how, when MJF was making his way down to the ring for this match, quite clearly Wardlow is just getting ever so close to being done as MJF's lackey. It's clear as day that is exactly what's going on because he has this look of, man, I want to knock this motherfucker's head off. So, yeah, here comes MJF. He's going to get the mic. And he's going to have things to say about Sting, Darby, because coming up at Full Gear, we're going to get that match.
Wow, Boston, this place is exactly as I remembered it from last time. Absolute shithole. But guess what? You're lucky, Mask. You just got to see me do what I do best, and that's hitting shoulders on mats and banging rats. Except the only problem is I'm gonna have to skip the second part this week, since I'd rather shove my junk in a blender than go anywhere near your disgusting fat women. Impression of all of your mothers.
Sounds like Dusty Rhodes, actually.
Accents are disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, Darby Allin. All you people like Darby, huh? Makes sense. People like... Makes sense you cheer for Darby. This town loves to cheer for losers, don't you? Darby, on September 29th, you made a mistake. You interrupted me when I was telling everybody I deserve to be the AEW World Champion, which is true.
Soon, very soon.
To make matters worse, you threw the gauntlet down, baby boy. You claimed I couldn't break you mentally. Well, that's interesting considering the fact you're too scared to show up for work now, aren't you?
Yes, he's an asshole. We know he's an asshole.
Sorry, guys, I can't hear you over all the money I make.
Really?
I'd be scared if I were you, Darby, considering I knocked out your creepy poppy Sting with my beautiful dynamite diamond ring. The same ring that I won over 2 years ago when I beat Hangman Adam Page.
Foreshadowing.
The more you know. It's almost like now that dumb schmuck Darby Allin is out of my hair. There's nothing stopping me from my destiny. I don't care what happens after Full Gear. 10-year Adam, it doesn't matter because you are looking at the future world champion because I am the past, the present, and the future. Shut your mouth!
Okay, so they play Sting's music. The commentator's like, oh, here he comes, the kick to teach him a lesson. And MJF and Shawn Spears have a big old laugh because they're fucking with Boston. And before we go any further on that, the dig on Hangman Adam Page is obvious foreshadowing. He beat him for the Diamond Ring in November of 2019. He's going to do it again, but this time it'll be for the world title at either Revolution, Double or Nothing, or All Out. Now, they're having the big old laugh. The lights go out, and MJF is like, very funny, Spears. And like, dude, this ain't me. So, a video comes up, and we see a guy wearing a MJF mask. And I'm thinking, are we getting a Joe Hendry song? Because that's something Joe Hendry would do sometimes. Because, you know, Ring of Honor and all that stuff. We go to a concert and you see this guy, he's like, comes on the stage. He's acting like MJF. He's like flipping everybody off. The guy says, is that MJF? Darby comes out of the way and kicks the stooge, puts him through a table. Now time to break through physically on the screen. The lights come back up. Sting's in the ring. He attacks Spears. He attacks Wardlow. MJF gets out of dodge. Smart man. But he's at the barricade while Wardlow gets beat up. A guy in a mask, in an invisible man getup, or Inspector Gadget, that's what it looked like to me, takes off his sunglasses and his head, his face mask thing, and it's Darby Allin. Darby beats up on Shawn Spears as MJF gets away. He has with him in his jacket, I think, he goes under the ring. Never mind. He goes under the ring and pulls out the skateboard with thumbtacks around the logo. Spears gets laid out with the baseball bat. Wardlow gets hit gets set up with a shot with the bat. Thumbtacks to the back. And that is that. Darby will grab the mic and say, Max, Full Gear, drops the mic. That is that. We're getting this match at Full Gear. I predicted this back when these guys first started getting into each other. I knew it was going to happen. That should be interesting. Of course, MJF's going to win. MJF should not lose to Darby Allin. MJF should not lose to anybody. And that's the match we're going to get at Full Gear. It's going to be fun. Now, we go back, and it's the worst champion in AEW history, the Faker Britt Baker, with her two little cronies. Now, it was talked about how she will be defending the title against Tay Conti at Full Gear if she's still champion, Tony Schiavone says, and she takes offense to this. Well, apparently, at the Jericho Cruise, which is this past weekend, we missed it because COVID, thank you very much. Apparently she had a match with Abaddon, and she walked out on the match. So, on Friday, it's going to be Abaddon versus the women's champion in a no disqualification match, trick or treat match. If Abaddon is to win, which she's probably not going to, when world champ, I don't like to fake it, but champions should not be losing, period. In non-title matches, she will get a title match at a later date. Even if Abaddon was to win on Friday, you have 2 more Wednesdays and 2 more Fridays before the pay-per-view. How would you get a title match between those two that would make any sense before her match with Tay Conti? Let me guess. The go-home show? Probably. But again, I doubt she's going to win. She's going to lose because they got to make her look as strong as possible, even though she sucks at everything she does. Now, after that, of course, she does her DMD. Here's the thing about that DMD. It's funny because usually when we go to a backstage segment, the crowd reacts. The crowd has a reaction. They cheer, they boo, they make some kind of noise. When they go back to talk to Tony Schiavone and the women's champion, there's zero reaction. Nobody's making any fucking noise. But all of a sudden, when she does DMD, the crowd magically goes DMD. Tell me this woman is supposed to be over. Tell me how this woman... Someone explain to me how this woman is supposed to be the most popular woman in the company. That's Thunder Rosa first and foremost. Nobody can deny that. Just watch her come out for any match she's in. She's over more than anybody in this company for the women. And she's on par with most of the men. Yet, AEW continues to pipe in cheers, pipe in the DMD. Just watch her come to the ring. Watch how the crowd doesn't give a shit. You might have the ones waving the DMD towel if they're actually fans of her, in which everybody has a fan or two. But majority of the crowd doesn't give a shit about her as champion. Nobody gives a shit as her as champion. The sooner she loses that title, the better for this company. Now, Sammy Guevara versus Ethan Page. This is a TNT Championship match. Tony Khan made this really obvious. Banned from ringside, everybody is. Which, honestly, it should have been everyone's banned from ringside. But if anybody just so happens to walk out on stage from either side, then the match is thrown out and the victor goes to whoever's, all that stuff. However, if Sammy wins, the Inner Circle decides who joins the Men of the Year in the upcoming match at Full Gear. If Sammy loses, he loses the TNT title, and he leaves the Inner Circle forever. It was kind of obvious who was going to win this match. It was very predictable who was going to win because of course, on that sheet of paper, it was American Top Team and the Men of the Year, I believe, versus the Inner Circle was the match that was on there. So Sammy wasn't losing the TNT Championship, but this was a really good match. I will say there was not a bad match on this show tonight at all. Not at all. So these guys, Ethan Page, I'd say dominated a good portion of this match. Back in the ring, Guevara looks for the go to hell, the GTH, but nope, eats a forearm to the face. Guevara on the second rope, Page whips him off it, slams him down, cover 2. Both of them up on the second rope, Page just slams him down to the mat and hits a shoulder thrust, cover 2. Both on the top rope, Guevara with a Hurricane Rana counter. Guevara misses a standing shooting star press, he's able to counter Page, sweeps the leg, jackknife pin, 1, 2, 3. Sammy Guevara retains the TNT Championship in a pretty good match, whereas Ethan Page is not your TNT champion, unfortunately for him. This will not be his last TNT title match ever. I feel that after this whole make, if they could just split him off and let him be himself, I think it would be better for him, and I think that he would be... I don't know why they put these two together. I mean, yeah, people like the American Top Team thing because honestly, before Dan Lambert came into AEW and did this whole thing with the Men of the Year, they were just perennial jobbers on Wednesday night and Friday night, and they were just perennial dark wrestlers. They weren't doing shit. They lost to Sting and Darby. They lost to Mox and Kingston. I think they had a match against Mox and Kingston. They weren't doing shit with these guys. What's going to happen after? That's another thing with this. What's going to happen with the Men of the Year when this is all said and done? Is this going to elevate and make the Men of the Year bigger stars in AEW? I highly doubt it. It's just one of the. It feels like when this whole thing's over, Dan Lambert and the American Top Team are all gone, which is hopefully after Full Gear, because honestly, I'm sick and tired of it already. I've been tired of it since night one. But if they go and they're gone and it's just the Men of the Year by themselves again, they're just going to be back in the shuffle where they were before. They're just going to be back on Dark Elevation wrestling jobber matches where they win those matches, unless they go up against like the Dark Order or the Young Bucks or the Lucha Bros or any of those teams. I just don't see anything good coming from this for the Men of the Year, win or lose, because yeah, if they win, cool, they won the match. If they lose, which is most likely, what's next for them? It just feels like a no-win situation for the Men of the Year. I mean, yeah, they got a couple months on TV in a very high prominent spot, but what comes after? It's like the question you can have with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Kenny Omega loses if Kenny Omega loses at full gear and Hangman becomes a new champion, Hangman goes on to defend the title. Kenny Omega goes away for a couple months to heal himself up because that dude's been hurting a lot. But he doesn't leave on his own volition. He gets beat down by the Elite, who kick his ass to the curb, and they have a storyline built in for when he does actually come back. More on that later. So it's just, I see that, yeah, it's great for the Men of the Year to get this spot that they've had for a while, but what happens after? Honestly, I don't see anything good happening for the Men of the Year after. After the match, of course, Scorpio Sky attacks Hangman. Not Hangman, but Sammy Guevara. He beats him up. Sky comes out to help out. All the Inner Circle with pyro and music render the ring. Jericho's music plays. After the whole singing thing happens, he says, leave it to the jackasses of the year to ambush Sammy after his big match. He confirms there will be a 5-on-5 match at Full Gear. And it will be now in a Minneapolis, I can't say that word, a Minneapolis street fight, because you have 3 members of American Top Team, and we'll find out next week who those 3 members will be. I'm putting money on Dan Lambert actually happened to be in this match. Why? Because it's a way for him, and that will be, if Dan Lambert happens to be in the match, it could go one or two ways. And one way is very, very poor, where the Men of the Year win by having Dan Lambert pin Chris Jericho, which would be fucking horrendous. Just saying. Backstage, Bryan Danielson with Tony Schiavone and Eddie Kingston before their semifinals tournament match, which is being taped, of course, right now. Could be over by now. Kingston says Danielson says he doesn't work hard. He talks about dealing with stuff every single day, and Danielson shouldn't talk until he walks the day in his shoes. He's done talking, done listening, he leaves. Danielson says that's the Kingston he wants to see. He says there's a lot of tough guys out there, but Kingston and Moxley are the 2 toughest who's ever been in the ring. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how hard Kingston works in the ring. Danielson is going to beat him in the match and move on to the finals. The finals, we will have the final sets next Wednesday, as Orange Cassidy will take on the winner of the match tonight of Mox and Ted, and you know who won that one. The Lucha Bros challenge FTR for the title match at Full Gear instead of the other way around, which is fine because they are sick and tired of FTR, who have embarrassed them. They stole their AAA tag team titles. I'm really surprised they didn't challenge it and make it a title for title match just for the hell of it. Shida versus Serena Deeb. This match is a first round match in the TBS title tournament. This is a rematch from Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida 1, which Hikaru Shida tried to capture her 50th win and failed, and then got the 50th win trophy smashed over her head. Deeb comes out, and then Shida comes out, which I guess she's the new rainbow hair warrior because she's like getting all different colors of her hair dyed for whatever reason. Whatever, you do, Serena, Shida. But she comes out with a pissed off look on her face. She's holding both pieces of the the broken trophy that she was possibly going to win at the 50 at that last match. It didn't work out. So we go to this match, and this was aggressive. These two women wanted to beat the living shit out of each other. This was a really good match. One of my followers on Minds said this is probably the best women's match in all of AEW thus far, and I'm like, it's really hard to tell if this is the best match in AEW's women's history, because Serena Deeb has had a lot of good matches. Her match with Thunder Rosa was awesome. Her match with Riho on Double or Nothing's kickoff show was the best women's match of that night. Hikaru Shida, of course, had some good matches. Hell, Riho and Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's World Championship when Nyla Rose won the title. Not their first match. That first match was bad. But Shida, Riho versus Nyla Rose 1-2 was awesome. There has been some good women's matches. This is definitely up there. Their first match was good. This match was obviously better. Of course, Hikaru Shida picked up the win, but it was not easy at all, as these two women, Deeb was making hell of a damn sure, because if Shida was to win this match, she would have got her 50th win as well, which Shida did get poked in the eye. Looked like she was going to lose her roll-up. Deeb looks for a finisher, reversed into a pin by Shida for a 1-2-3. I don't like the finish because we just had the TNT Championship defended and it ended in a jackknife roll-up. Why do you want to do that back-to-back? This should have been a definitive win for Shida, not just a lucky I survived or a lucky roll-up. I guess you do. With the way this match ended, I could totally see Shida and Deeb happening for a third time because they are at 1-1. Deeb won the first one, Shida won the second one, and after the match, Shida, whose leg was injured, got chop blocked. Deeb went out, grabbed a chair, and just beat the shit out of Shida's knee. And Excalibur mentioned she could have taken her out of the tournament. There was no announcement later in the show or anything that, yes, Shida's out of the tournament or anything. And the fact that they're doing one match a week on TV on Wednesday night. They're not doing them on Rampage because Rampage is going to be on TNT and Wednesday night's going to be on TBS. So they're having one match a week, which I think they could have just put this on in December and had two matches a week on TV on Wednesday night, but that's just me. The match between Nyla Rose and Shida could be 6 weeks from now, because we still have two matches in the second round, and 4 matches to go in the second round. So, yeah, we could see Shida versus Nyla Rose in 6 weeks. Now, I'm not going to spoil what happens on Dark Elevation, which is going to happen this Monday, but there was a tag team match between two members of the TBS title tournament on opposite sides of the match, and of course, one of those teams had to lose. I don't care what the hell, who thought that was a good idea. I don't care if they want to play it off, they're previewing what could possibly be a quarterfinal match in the TBS tournament, semifinal match. In the TBS tournament, no. Nobody in the TBS tournament should be losing non-tournament matches or even be wrestling in non-tournament matches until they're out of the tournaments. I do not care who thought that was a good idea. This women's division is hurting because you make bonehead decisions like this. I don't care if it's on Dark Elevation. There's Tay's not going to lose a match up until her match with the champion at Full Gear. So why would you sit there and have a tag team match with one member versus another member of the tournament who are actually going to be possibly facing each other in the third round? In the third round, they could end up facing each other in the third round. Why would you even give us a preview of that match? No, that should not fucking happen. Nyla Rose Chris Statlander, Ruby Soho, The Bunny, Red Velvet, Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Jay Cargill, and anybody else, and Anna Jay should not be wrestling any non-tournament matches until they lose in the tournament. Period. I don't care if it's on Dark Elevation Wednesday night, or Rampage. They should not be in non-tournament matches until they're out. Plain and simple. It just weakens your tournament by doing that. So yeah, Shida gets beat down. She even gets put into the what the hell are her finishes called? It's a half Boston Crab, the Serenity Lock, and she's not just holding it like you normally would for a half Boston Crab. She's yanking that fucking knee back, trying to fuck that knee up. She really, really, really wants to put Shida on the shelf for a very long time. So obviously they're going to have a third match. If that match happens at Full Gear, it would probably be it needs to happen after Shida loses, but I doubt that's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Matt Sydal, okay, so on Friday it's supposed to be the Sydal brothers versus Leo Rush and Dante Martin. Well, apparently Mike Sydal has been injured, so that match is not going to happen. But instead we're getting Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal 3. Which I'm okay with. I have absolutely no problem with that match. That should be an awesome match. So, before we even get to the end of the show, the Friday night card is the no DQ match between Abaddon and the Women's Champion, the Eddie Kingston Bryan Danielson match, and Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal, which will be awesome. But Leo Rush says the return match will come in time, but Dante will have a chance to be mentored by someone who wants to see him continue to grow and beat his opponent this Friday instead of being mentored by somebody who wants to beat Dante. That's it. Where exactly are they going with this Dante Martin Leo Rush thing? The only thing I can see them doing with the Dante Martin Leo Rush thing is that Dante Martin is going to fail and fail and fail. Leo gets fed up. Leo attacks Dante, and that's when Darius comes back. That's the only thing I can think they could be doing, because we haven't seen Darius. The only time they really mention anything about Darius is in Dante's matches. He's like a ghost most of the rest of the time. So I'd have to just say that they're going to have Darius make his return to help his brother against Leo Rush. It's the only thing I can think of why they would do this any other way. So Jon Moxley versus 10. 10 comes out. He's excited. The first time he fought Jon Moxley was all the way back at the beginning of the pandemic, when he was turned into, like, Preston Vance was turned into 10 by Brody Lee, picked personally by Brody Lee to be the muscle of the Evil Dark Order at the time. And Moxley went out there and destroyed him and broke his arm. Or I think it's like he either broke his arm or he tore muscles off of his arm. And he has to look at that scar every single day and remember it was Jon Moxley. I think that was just a cover for actual injury somewhere else, but hey, it is what it is. So Moxley comes out, and this is not the normal Jon Moxley you would see. He comes out, he doesn't give a fuck about anybody. He gets to the barricade when you know how he opens the barricade and comes through, and there's a fucking fan there, and he pushes the fan out of the way just to open the thing. He gets in there, he beats the living fuck out of 10. 10 didn't get shit in this match. He beat this guy up, he bludgeoned him, he took him outside, he ripped the mask, bit the guy, threw him into the barricade. So he gets back in the ring, waiting for 10 to come back in. He's even going to the refs like, dude, I ain't got time for this. Get this fucker back in the ring. 10 comes back in. He's bleeding like a stuffed pig. He gets beat the fuck out of even more. 10 did get some forearms and a pump kick in, but Moxley blocks him with a lariat. Hits a bunch of punches to the face. Hits the Death Rider. 1, 2, 3. Moxley wins and immediately gets up, gets out of the ring, and heads back out into the crowd the way he came, not giving a fuck about anything. Moxley's heel turn is in sight. It's going to happen soon. Moxley's heel turn is going to happen one of two ways. One, it happens in the finals of the Eliminator Tournament where Bryan Danielson beats him, And he gets so pissed off that he should have won this tournament. He knows he should have won this tournament, that he just goes absolutely ballistic and destroys Bryan Danielson. That's option one. Option two, he wins the tournament, goes to face Hangman and Page at If They Do Winter Is Coming Again. That would make sense. Or on that first episode of the TBS show, which is also where they could put the title match. And he goes into that match. He loses to Hangman and Page. This goes ballistic, thinking, I should be champion. I should have beat this guy. How the fuck did he beat me? How dare he beat me? I wanted to bring that title home to my daughter, my family, where I would be whatever, and he beats the living shit out of Hangman Adam Page and makes him bleed more than he did 10 tonight. So either Hangman or Bryan Danielson is going to become a bloodied, beat-up victim to a heel, this pissed off Jon Moxley. And I'm going to sit back and watch and love every single second of it. Because that heel turn is going to be leagues better than the heel turn and whatever the fuck WWE tried to do with Dean Ambrose. That Dean Ambrose heel turn was a atrocity. Let's see what happens when Jon Moxley is heel, because that is going to be fucking beautiful. And I can't wait to see what happens. There is a new attitude in Jon Moxley, and I fucking love it. Tony talks with FTO about the challenge by the Lucha Bros. Cash Wheeler says they've been waiting a full year to get those titles back, because remember, they won them at All Out in 2020, and then they lost them to the Young Bucks at Full Gear. So this is full circle for them. We have a lot of full circle coming in at Full Gear this year. So of course they accept. Tully Blanchard says the Lucha Bros have no idea what they have coming down the pipe. Dax says they will fight for their lives for that match, but FTO is taking those titles. No, you're not. Again, I said this before and I'll say it again. If the Lucha Bros lose those tag team titles before Pride and Powerful gets to be the number one contenders and we get that match at hopefully Revolution, that is money left on the table that I don't think Tony Khan is stupid enough to leave on the table. Oh, this promo right here. Cody fucking Rhodes, I need you to hear this guy talk and how arrogant and self-centered he sounds, as he doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. Oh, come on, man. What the hell? Come on.
You. I hear you online. I hear old wrestling managers shouting at clouds on social media, and I heard you this Saturday. I had one of the best wrestlers in the world, Malachi Black. I hooked under one arm. I hooked under the other arm. Ultimately, I would hit a Tiger Driver 98, as Excalibur pointed out so beautifully. But for a brief moment, for a glimmer, I thought about hitting a very different move.
That, of course, would be the pedigree.
What would happen? What would happen if I hit that move?
I hate this thing sometimes. Like, come on.
Popped up, would I have sneered, would I have abused my executive vice president role, would I have broken the covenant between you and I, challenged for the world title, and won the world championship? Do you want to know why I didn't? Because respectfully, that's too easy.
What an arrogant piece of shit.
No, not the matches. The matches would be hard, but that is the easy way out. I feel like as a fan, you have your right to do whatever you want. You can cheer.
8 fists from football and touching baby faces.
Boo! But if you're going to boo the narrative, boo the true narrative. Nobody has any problem acknowledging the man who signs the checks, but please don't forget the man who built this bank.
Wasn't you. That was the Young Bucks. You or Jason? Or Kenny Omega?
Please do me a favor. Like I said, that's the easy way. It's not in my nature. Do yourself a favor. I put myself in your shoes. Put yourself in mine for one night here, all right? Put yourself in mine.
We threw both of his shoes out to the front and was so hoping this guy would throw him back.
I grew up in front of you. I debuted at 20 years old. No knee pads, no muscles. I've got a wife that's too hot for me. I've got a brother that, if you honestly think about it, bell to bell, he's a Hall of Fame player. Dustin Rhodes is likely better than I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a daughter that I barely deserve, and I have a father that, if I lived to be 300 years old, I would not be able to leave behind the cultural legacy that he did. So the easy way out, is not the way. I will not turn.
And that's the biggest mistake you'll make in your career.
And the reason is because simple, and I don't mean to pander, but I love you guys very much, and I've loved you my entire life. So if anybody thought that maybe I got a little Hollywood, that I got away from where my eyes should be, allow me to apologize. I apologize to each and every one of you.
And I don't believe a single thing coming out of his mouth.
I apologize to everyone in the Nightmare family. Brooke Havoc, Dylan, Sean Dean, Lee Johnson, Brock Anderson, my own brother, and Sir.
No Red Velvet, no Kylan King doing the Nightmare family, but you won't mention that.
If I've never told you, allow me to tell you right now. It is a damn honor to stand in the ring with you.
Boo. I can't listen to any more of that. He's just so full of himself. Oh, comes Andrade, tells Cody that people don't like him. He gets the people who don't like him either, but Andrade, there's a difference. Andrade doesn't care about the people. Andrade thinks Cody makes stupid choices like that neck tattoo. Very stupid. The next stupid thing was getting into Andrade's business. And maybe I should make you my little bitch. Lights go down. Why is this not going off? Lights go down. Up comes the lights. It's Malachi Black, of course. And he missed Cody. Cody gets beat up by him. Arn gets beat up by Andrade. And so he's out of the way. Those two double team Cody until out comes Pac. They fight these guys off. And Pac sits down in the Indian position, which enrages Malachi because that's what Malachi Black likes to do. And he puts up the double bird. This promo, first off, would have been, in my opinion, a lot more impactful and a lot more powerful had he lost. Coming back after a couple weeks, a month or so, doing the Go Big Show's tapings. Coming back, retraining, refocusing, and still failing. That would have made this a lot better. But this guy, does he really think this is going to make everything A-okay? Everyone's going to cheer him now. Oh, he apologized to us. Fuck that bullshit. This guy either turns heel or retires. AEW doesn't need Cody Rhodes anymore. He was there. He came in as one of the bigger names to help establish the brand, help put down that foundation to make sure that the rest of the young up and coming guys could build up on AEW. His usefulness in AEW has come and gone. We do not need Cody Rhodes anymore. Cody can go away he can go retire and become an agent backstage, and that's all he needs to do. I don't care for Cody anymore in AEW. Go do stuff backstage, train your students. That's the only thing he's worth a damn anymore, is his showcases with the Nightmare Factory on YouTube every few months. That is where he's more useful than here. Get him off of my fucking TV. I don't give a shit. Turn him heel or get him off my fucking TV. This guy is an arrogant, selfish piece of shit motherfucker who does not care about the fucking company anymore. It's all for Cody. It's all... Cody is like, me, nobody else. I put Darby over. I put MJF over. I put this... that's all I put over. I'm not putting anybody else over. I'm going to get the last laugh. I'm going to be the Rocky Balboa of the fucking company who gets beat down, but always is the last man standing. Get this guy off my television. He faces Pac next week. He faces Andrade next week on Wednesday night, which tells me at Full Gear it will be Pac and Cody versus Andrade and the Malachi Black, and I don't even want to see that match. I want to see Malachi versus Pac if you're going to go down that road. Get him off my TV and let him go do his fucking Hollywood shit. Let him work backstage. We don't need him on TV anymore. Plain and simple. Okay, main event time. Dark Order, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, John Silver, and Colt Cabana. I'm sorry, I mean Bambi, Kratos, Hangman Adam Page, and Brandon Cutler versus the Ghostbusters of Adam Cole, Hangman, and Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. Yeah. Last night on NXT's Halloween Havoc, Tommaso Ciampa came to the ring dressed as Kratos from the 2018 God of War game. Okay, one problem with his costume. He went with a blue tribal, whatever that, I can't even remember what the fuck that's called, what Kratos has, but the red stripe that he has going around his body, well, he did it in blue for whatever reason. Now, if you played God of War 2, I think it was one God of War 2, there was this hall of concepts where you can see models of Kratos and everything else, and what they look like from conception to before they were completed. And there was a Kratos version there that had a blue stripe because originally he was going to have a blue stripe instead of the red. Well, tonight, Stu Grayson got it right, had the ash white skin and the fucking red stripe of Kratos. And he wasn't 2018 Kratos, he was the original trilogy God of War Kratos. Awesome. John Silver was a Bambi, I guess, if you want to say Bambi was a sweater, a reindeer sweater. Evil Uno was Hangman on a Page, which got cowboy shit for the entire match chanted when he was in the ring. And Colt Cabana was Brandon Cutler. And then the Elite one-upped them and came out as the Ghostbusters with the packs, whatever the fuck that thing's called, particle packs, and the Ghostbuster theme, sort of a remix on the Ghostbuster theme. They came out with Naito Nakazawa, who was dressed as Big Baby from The Party. I don't know what the significance of Big Baby is, but I didn't watch everything with The Party. And then we had the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Now, I'm sure some people realize what was actually going on with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Oh yeah, the Dark Order came out with a guy with two people in a horse costume, and Alex Reynolds was also a cowboy, aka Hangman on a Page. So this match happens. It's pretty even until everyone's starting to get their shit in, and Matt Jackson just super kicks the shit out of Bryce Rensburg. So, low blows to everybody of the Dark Order. They bring in the particle packs, they put them back on, they do a backward shot to everybody in the Dark Order because that's an illegal move because they're hitting them with the packs. They sit them all down, and then they do a triple powerbomb to Colt Cabana onto these packs. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes into the ring and starts cheering for them. They're beating up on the Elite, on the Dark Order. The top half of the horse comes running out. We don't know who the hell it is, and they think it's somebody in the Dark Order, so they low blow him, they beat him up, and hit him with a BTE trigger. So they go to unmask the horse. They pull the head up, and it's Brandon Cutler with his mouth taped. So everybody except for Matt Jackson from the Elite were pulled out of the ring. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the commentator's like, who's the Stay Puft? Who's the Marshmallow Man? Who is this guy? Takes the mask off, and it's Hangman Adam Page. He goes ham on the entire elite, hits the dead eye on Kenny Omega. Everybody's out. You get the spin doctor by John Silver. 1, 2, 3. The Dark Order get the win. Awesome shit. Hangman hugs the entire Dark Order. They celebrate. We get a couple beers. The elite are pissed off because they got one-upped. And everybody goes home happy. Hell of a fucking way to end the match. I can admit, I thought that it was Brandon Cutler under the thing, but it should have became more clear to everybody when the horse disappeared after the start of the match. The horse was gone. The horse did not come down with them, but the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was there, and he didn't do anything. And Cutler always gets involved. Of course, Michael Nakazawa did a splash as Big Baby, so what the fuck was that all about? That's just goofy shit. What would have been more fun for the horse segment is if the guy in the horse costume was Don Callis. I think Don Callis, like my dad pointed this out, Don Callis hasn't been around for a bit. Don Callis hasn't been around for a couple matches. What's going on with Don Callis? Is he done with AEW? I know he's not working in Impact anymore. They severed the ties with him. So what's going on with Don Callis? The thing about the whole partnership with Don Callis is if it's done with Kenny Omega and him, it's a little in the elite. It's a little premature. Don Callis should be there up until the time Kenny Omega loses the championship. Now he could be off. Maybe he had COVID or something. Maybe something else is going on. We don't know. But I expect Don Callis to be there for the world title match, and Kenny's going to lose more than likely. And then the elites are going to turn on Kenny Omega, kicking him out of the elite, beating him down, and sending him a bye-bye for, I'd say, up until Revolution. But Kenny Omega will make one appearance in January, on January 5th, for the first episode of on TBS, where he will come out, say a couple, try to talk. He'll have an interview with him and Tony Schiavone where he wants to try and clear the air with everything that happened at Full Gear, because it'll be the first time we see Kenny Omega since Full Gear. And then the Young Bucks and Adam Cole come out and they beat him down, send him back out to recover again, and we won't see him again until February, where they set up the match between Adam Cole and Kenny Omega at Revolution, in which those two are going to have a hell of a fucking match. While the Young Bucks have a tag team match with... the Young Bucks might get their tag team title rematch at Revolution, and that's what keeps them up, even though I think it should be Proud and Powerful versus the Lucha Bros. But the Young Bucks will be doing something now. Kenny Omega is going to lose at Full Gear, show up again one time, he'll disappear, show up again one night only in January for the first episode on TBS, because Tony Khan is going to want to have as many of his big star names on that night. He'll get taken out again by the Elite, and then on the way to Revolution, they might do some things and we might have some hyped up videos or training packages or something of Kenny Omega working his way back. The Elite just say, fuck this guy, he's not going to come back. We're done with him. He's never coming back. And then he comes back and absolutely just beats up on the Elite and finally gets the match between him and Adam Cole. That's what I'm thinking. But tonight was a really good show and not a bad match on it whatsoever. The finale was awesome. The first match was awesome. Everything was good. There was not one bad moment of this show. Of course, listening to the Faker get no reaction, and then all of a sudden get piped in DMD, which they've been doing for months. But that is your AEW on TNT review. It was probably one of the better shows this year, with not really any downtime in the show. Everything was just, they hit everything. Every match hit for perfect timing. Everything felt great. They were back in the groove on Wednesday night, hopefully to never, ever, ever be preempted again. Please don't ever preempt them again, Warner Media. They need to stay on Wednesday night. It kind of sucks having to go on and they're going to TBS, which makes me wonder, are they still going to get preempted because TBS still has baseball during the World Series time? And I really hope that's not going to be one of those things that when baseball comes to, or when they come to TBS next year, they're going to get preempted because of baseball, because TBS does have baseball games during the season. we'll see what happens, but that is just AEW View. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Mods The France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, and find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.